For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. Westward from the Davis Strait, 'tis there 'twas said to lie, the sea route to the Orient for which so many died, seeking gold and glory, leaving weathered, broken bones, and a long-forgotten, lonely cairn of stones. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. 3 centuries thereafter, I take passage overland in the footsteps of brave Kelso, where his sea of flowers began, watching cities rise before me, then behind me sink again. This tardiest explorer, driving hard across the plain. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. And through the night behind the wheel, the mileage clicking west, I think upon Mackenzie, David Thompson, and the rest, who cracked the mountain ramparts and did show a path for me to race the roaring Fraser to the sea. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. How then am I so different from the first men through this way? Like them, I left a settled life, I threw it all away, to seek a Northwest Passage at the call of many men, to find there but the road back home again. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea.
Hi everyone! It's me. The devil. Hi, Shadow. I love you. Other parts of that quote. It's me. I'm not the devil from the Bible. I'm actually just some guy who's gonna read fanfic at you. Yeah, no, not from there either. Um, Admittedly, neither are preferable. Um, I would rather it was just me and no devils. None at all. Anyway. How's everyone doing? I am what they call vibing. I'm also a little bit a little bit Splatoon brain rotted. You didn't? I'm so proud of you. I always knew you could do it. But yeah, my entire weekend was Splatoon, pretty much. I do be thinking about them squids. A lot. Truthfully. Whoo! But you know, I could have probably even I mentioned this before. I probably could have even streamed some of the fest, but I decided not to because yelling. I didn't want to yelling. I'm too good at yelling. And it's not good. It's bad even. I didn't want to break my everything. And there's a plane outside. Again. But they did say that they'll still be doing like the seasonal Splatfests, at least for now. So there's still opportunities for me to stream Splatfest, I suppose. That and like Big Run. Love it when a run is big. Obviously, I'm not planning on doing any of that soon. But, you know, if the numbers... I'm just saying all I need is double the number of followers that I have right now, and I could technically go for Twitch affiliate. I won't until after this, because I don't want to profit off of anything that's not actually just mine. Like, for instance, how terrible I am at video games. Pay me to suck. Don't pay me to do something somebody else made. Pay me to suck at video games. Those are the only two things I'm good at. Being bad at and being not original. Those are my skills in life. What do you say we jump into it, huh? Can you believe we're a third of the way through? We're okay, so it's 61 chapters and we're on chapter 21, so when we're a third of the way through this chapter, then we'll be a third of the way through the fic. And that's a little bit wild, don't you think? I mean, I'm counting it chapters wise, not word count wise, but in the same way that even though months have different numbers of days, I would still say that, say, February 12th and March 12th, that's a month. That's true. We'll be a third of the way through what there is so far. Gosh, can you imagine just like I wrap up and then what would be funnier? Like ages down the line, a new chapter comes out and I'm like, oh, I gotta bust out the old Michael phone again and bring it all back, or it drops like 2 days after I finish. Either would be very funny. But yeah, for the sake of yeah, I definitely feel the sort of why do I have to make it exist? Why can't it just exist already? Like, as much as I would like to be able to say, I made this, I wrote that, I also just sort of wish that This World Is Yours to Inherit, which is my magic AU with Pale Soul Cat, I sort of just wish that would exist pre-formed for me to enjoy instead of having to actually make it, you know? Just brain blast me! Why must there be so many steps before the part where you get to brain blast people with feelings? So yes, I understand. I understand wholeheartedly. And much like pressure washing, it might fix me. It might fix me. It might not, but it might. It might make things better, might make things run smoother. Like a little reset for my brain. Sometimes I have a feeling like my brain needs to go through a filter. Like, sift my brain. I need you to sift my brain and get out all the gunk, and then maybe I will work again. Anyway. Let's jump into it, huh? I wonder how many times I say, let's get into it, before I actually get into it. Each stream, like, I feel like not even counting my tendency to just say things twice for the sake of filling the silence. Like, even if you don't count that, I would bet that the average time, the average number of times that I'm like, let's get things started, and then not, would be like 3. I'm silly. Anyway, welcome everyone to part 21 of Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. If you're new here, You sure haven't told me that. If there's any lurkers and ghosts around who are new here, welcome. My name is Harper, but you can call me KK, and my pronouns are they, them, and its. If you're new, please read the chat rules, be chill, and have a good time. That's all we're really here for, is a good time. Also shenanigans, and brain blasting people with feelings, but mostly a good time. I don't see why those have to be mutually exclusive. What we're about to get into is as follows. Your Words Destroyed My Planet by Unda is a million-word homestuck fic that focuses on Dave's soul cat. It's an AU set in a future where humans and trolls have escaped on spaceships for their survival. As of now, it is currently unfinished, as we noted before. But don't worry. Just don't worry. End of sentence. Don't worry. In this stream series, I aim to read the entire fic aloud by myself. And since we mentioned this before, yes, if new chapters do drop in the future, I mean, that's the only time that they could, on account of they haven't in the past, I wouldn't just leave off at chapter 61 if there was more. If and when there is an update, I will do that too. It will be a complete project when the project is complete. Yes? Okay. Are we understanding the words that I am saying with my mouth face? All that to say, I'm gonna do it all. I'm a completionist. Sometimes. With this I am. Not for most games, but... That aside, that was a complete and total tangent. That was only half coherent, I think. Do please take note of the tags on this fic. They are right here in front of you for your viewing pleasure and or information. And be aware that you may be in for the discussion of some sensitive topics. You know, there's not always a good time, and there's not always a kid-friendly time. You know how it be. If you would like to read back a cleaner and less tangenty version of everything that I just said, you can type !fic about in chat. If you'd like a link to the fic itself on AO3, to follow along, to save for later, to share with a friend, to share with not friend, I don't know, share it with your enemies, I don't care. Share it with anybody. You can use !fic link, that'll take you to chapter 1. It's pretty easy to get to the other chapters from there. I sure would hope that it was. !fic song is a brief explanation of a very special feature of these streams, which is the pre-recorded song sequences. This command sadly cannot tell you which song is currently happening, but if you're just dying to know, I do have that information up in my brain. And typically there are folks in chat who also have it up in their brains. So, questions shall be answered. Songs shall be heard. Times shall be had. What kind of times? The good ones, I hope. But also, all the different kinds of times. It's okay. And then !fic sorry is just me being a perfectionist who recognized that I'm not perfect. This is a solo project. This is a live project. I had to make it that way so that I wouldn't hold myself to 1,000,000 times the standard that I could achieve. Because if this were a pre-recorded thing entirely and I had to like edit everything would take like 1,000,000 takes and it would be agonizing and painful and it would never get done. You don't get to a third of the way through the fic by agonizing over every little detail. You get through to a third of the way through the fic by just letting shit happen. And that's how come sometimes I get interrupted by my stream dying. It's okay. And finally, everyone's favorite chat command, the VODs channel. ! VODs will take you to my YouTube archive. I'll be putting every VOD for this stream, this series, as well as anything else I may stream in the future, which, like I said, I don't have any plans for, but it's not out of the question, because I do like Splatoon a whole lot. That's the end of that. That was the end of that train of thought. For these, I do aim to start the VODs uploading pretty much as soon as I have pressed stop streaming. So, with just, all it really takes is YouTube's, processing and checking processes. Wow, the processing process? For real? Okay, cool. I'm so words right now. But yeah, usually I'm pretty quick about that. And by usually, I mean so far I've been very quick about that every time. But sometimes I forget. But I don't forget for very long. But if I ever forget for longer, I'm sorry. All that to say, in short, I try to be as prompt as possible with the VODs. So it shouldn't be too long. It shouldn't be too long. Should you ever need it. The VOD. Should you ever need it. It should be soon. Yeah. So with all of that out of the way, because I'm just the most concise there is, that's a lie. I'm the most verbose there is. That's also a lie. My vocabulary is not that big. But I'm very long-winded is what I'm trying to say. With all of that out of the way, I present to you that time, which is now. And now is the time. I should send you that thing. The vocabulary test. DM me and I'll get it for you later. Because right now we got a mission. Mission by the name of Eros Destroyed My Planet, Chapter 21. What's a newly single guy currently exploring an alien world to do with himself? Mostly feel miserable as fuck, work yourself so you're always too busy to think about how you're now single, and then try not to cry at night. It is not glamorous. You're starting to get your feet back under you, though. You've had a few nights where you and Solix have been in your shared room alone before bed and you've watched something together. The two of you stretched out on his bed watching movies on your tablet in the dark. You've been tempted to stay there after the movie is done sometimes, but you don't, because that'd be weird. Over the next week, you throw yourself into work, helping people move things, keeping the mining operation running at max capacity, setting up the space elevator. You haul broken things to Solix for repair, and whenever you bring him something that needs fixing, you bribe him with coffee, too. He always seems happy to see you. For his part, Jake is just sad for you. He loves his little sister, obviously, and you're still family to him both emotionally and legally. You'd think he'd hoped that you and Jade would be a forever thing, just so he can keep you both close like that. It's not like there's sides to take in this whole thing. No one did anything wrong. Jake is just sad for you both and makes a point to reassure you that he's there no matter what. Bro mostly leaves you alone. There's only so much mileage he can get out of whether or not your lack of sexual attraction to Jade broke your relationship. It's a little hard for him to rub salt in the wound when you're already there hating yourself for it before he gets a word in. You're so pissed at yourself. It'd be one thing if you were asexual, like Jade had suggested you might be, but that's not it. It's so stupid. Do you trust Jade? Oh, absolutely. Do you love her? Completely. Is Jade attractive? She's movie star gorgeous. Anyone can see that. Okay, but can you personally pick out things about her that you find attractive? Yeah. You love the feel of her hair, the way she smells, the sound of her laugh, and her smile. Cool. Do you like the idea of actually having sex with someone? Sure. You have enough vague dreams about it. Great. So, sex with Jade? Pass. You're so fucking frustrated with yourself. You feel like smashing your head into a wall until your skull turns to mush. You have all the pieces there. Why isn't it working? You could have gone through with it, probably, but you can't deny that you were relieved when Jade made it clear that she wasn't in favor of that if you weren't also really enthusiastic about it. Maybe she's right. Maybe you aren't into it. If the ceiling caves in because you're staring at it too hard, I'm not fixing it. Solix comments from his husktop. You got distracted, waiting for him to fix something. That's what led to this whole stupid thought process. You watch as he wheels himself away from his desk and picks up his tablet that he's got attached to the broken mining tech you brought him and scowls at it. Idly, you consider the same thing. Do you trust Solix? Absolutely. He's made it pretty clear that he trusts you too, and he's been looking out for you through this whole mess. Of course you trust him. Do you love him? Well, yeah. Like, you love your friends. He's one of your closest friends now, like Karkat. Admittedly, you don't see as much of Karkat as you wish you could, because he's often busy, and you know Gansey needs him. Not that it always helps that much, but yeah. You love him in a totally platonic way that it's possible for guys to do, unlike Bro, who seems to feel that all love has to be romantic because he's a deeply fucked up person. It's not like the love you have for your siblings or your dad, but it's like... You falter there and frown. You're about to compare him to Aradia, and it feels weird. Not because they're exes, but it's different. You love Aradia, sure. She's an old friend, and she knows you very personally. You don't always like her because sometimes she can frustrate you or your different alignments mean you clash, but you do love her in a very platonic sense. But what you feel for Solix seems different. Huh. Thinking about it, though, you have similar feelings for Karkat, like a deep affection that's always been there. Maybe it's different with guys and girls or something? Chat, does he know? Chat, does he know? Anyway, where were you? Oh, right. So, is Solix attractive? Solix's hair is sticking up in different directions, and he's chewing on the end of his tablet pen as he taps away at his screen in the base's standard gray hoodie and sweatpants. Not the most fashionable outfit, but he's still pretty. It's like Jade could make wearing a trash bag look good. When you're that gorgeous, you can make anything work. So, yeah, he is. You've also seen him wearing better things of his own that do him way more favors than this, but even in this, there's still a sharpness to his features that's obviously attractive. So, he's ticked all the boxes that Jade did, in theory. Could you then imagine having sex with Solix? The idea makes your mind skitter slightly. You try to avoid thinking things like this because Bro gets in your dreams and you don't want to give him ammo. Not that he can read your mind unless you're actively dreaming, and even then he can't so much read your mind as he can interface with it. Your thoughts are your own. It just happens that Bro has practice at guessing them. Even so, the feeling like you might be caught is probably what has your heart racing as you try to mentally play the idea out. You bail out of that thought before it goes too far, but yeah, you probably could sleep with him. Dave? Solix's voice makes you jump, and you're sure your face is scarlet. You really hope your stupid thoughts weren't playing out on your expression or anything. You say dumbly. Well, shit, I thought I was just rebooting this, but I guess I somehow rebooted your Think Sponge instead, huh? Solix teases you, his smile showing off sharp teeth. Trolls are... well, it's not. You mean... try again. Some humans aren't into trolls, but you've never really got that. You fully grew up around them, even if they weren't so common on your first ship. There's so much more the majority on the Atuan. Even so, they were in movies and TV shows when you were younger. They're just other people. Some people in each species don't date the other because of romance conflicts or whatever. Some people can't do quadrants, and some people can't share people, so it gets complicated. You get that. Like, if it doesn't work on a practical level, then sure, be with who you want. But you've never got people who say they're not attracted to any trolls. They're so diverse, it seems that the only reason that none of them could ping you as attractive would be xenophobia. You don't have that problem. You have dreams and, fantasies or whatever, and even if it's all kind of non-specific for you, it's not like you've never thought about claws or the kind of sharp teeth some trolls have. You don't have any problem with that. Dave! Solix calls out, and you jump again, a little thrown by that weird train of thought. Chat, does he know? Chat, does he know? Sorry, never mind. Is it working now? You ask dumbly, gesturing to the drill thing you lugged into his workshop. Like I was saying, it should be. If it doesn't work, then come and get me, because I think it's connecting to the vehicle weirdly. That might be the source of the problem. Solix explains. Right. Yeah, got it. You nod and get to your feet. Have you missed a meal or something? Not enough coffee? You seem weirdly out of it. Solix asks, checking the time on his palm husk. Nah, just stuck in my head. What, are you trying to diagnose my problems like all this tech? You joke, gesturing to the few things still waiting for Solix's attention. Something like that. Try turning your Think Sponge off and on again. Solix snorts in amusement. Solix can turn you. Whoa, nope. Just because something makes a funny retort or a joke in your head doesn't mean you should go thinking it. God. Chat, does he know? Chat. I'm gonna keep saying this. Does he know? Holy shit. Okay, cool. Later. Cool. Bye. You say in a rush and start to haul the drill thing outside. Yeah, you better watch out before you say something you didn't mean to say. At times. At times. I would say most times. He's dumb, but I say that affectionately. I love he. Alright. Logical brain thinking time. The idea of Solix is different purely because it's forbidden or whatever, according to Bro, and he's got all these thoughts about what being into men means about someone. Other than that, you could just as easily picture yourself with Solix as you could Jade. With her, you're like, you guess you could, and with him, there's that heart-racing feeling that's probably paranoia or something. So, what, then? What did all this prove? Did you just prove that you're asexual or bisexual or just straight with the ability to imagine shit? You achieved nothing here, except for failing to have coherent thought around your friend and getting yourself all confused. Or something. Yeah, let's go with that. What even is the point? It's not like you can decide that actually sex with Jade would be great now that you've talked yourself into it, so now you can somehow revive your very dead relationship. Nah, she's done with you. Not in a callous way or anything, you're sure, but that ship's sailed. You're pretty sure your ship as a whole has sailed. You consider that as you hook the drill part back up to the main vehicle. Keeping things from Jade was so hard, and as good as you are at that, it's just tiring to have to be on your game with everyone all the time. You love her, and you don't know if you'll ever not love her. It's not like you can be with anyone else, is it? How's that gonna go? One boyfriend, free to a good home, commitment issues, past trauma, huge, somewhat terrifying family, not interested in sex, really fucking haunted. will lie all the time about stuff, never fully open up, and will still be in love with his ex and won't move out of his hive. Yeah, so many takers for that. The drill beeps angrily at you, still refusing to sync with the vehicle that you're trying to attach it to. Fantastic. You're going to die alone, and nothing is working, and your life is over. Are you doing okay there, buddy? Jake asks gently, and his large gloved hand pats the middle of your back. If I asked you really nicely, could you just back the truck up over my head? You groan. Jake sighs deeply and nudges you out of the way. He unhooks the drill part with one hand and pulls it away, then he turns to you. Before you know what to do, Jake has crouched a little and drives his shoulder into your stomach and quickly stands up so he has you slung over one of his shoulders. His arm wraps tight around the back of your thighs, meaning you can't really get away. You give up almost immediately and let Jake lug you and the drill back into Solix's repair shop. These both need seeing to, Jake announces as he walks into the room. Yeah, Solix says from underneath his snowmobile up on blocks. Jake drags the drill into place and then looks around for somewhere to dump you. You see Solix float out from under the snowmobile and see his eyebrows raise as he sees you. I've seen one of those around here before. What kind of problem are you having with it? Solix asks with a grin. You wheeze when Jake drops you on your back on a table. It's not running quite right. I think it needs a rest, Jake says with a grin. Despite his joking, Jake pats you on the leg gently and gives you a sympathetic look. You know he'll be upset if you just head right back out and get working again. With all that said, you stay on the table, staring up morosely at the ceiling. I would say that you should have a break, but I know you'd argue. So how about you go get me something to eat and drink and do the same to keep me company since I've got shitloads of things to repair still? Solix asks, leaning over you. You look up at him and find your stupid brain going weird places. Why did this not always happen to you if this was a thing? Was it just that you were with Jade and that shut down stupid thoughts? Probably not. You always think dumb shit, but not always. You stare up at Solix's face as his expression goes from something teasing to a little more concerned. He's pretty. No, stop it. This is dumb. You're gonna have to watch what you say around him, because he wouldn't appreciate any of this, you're sure. Are you now? Yeah, sure. You agree, sitting up. Solix looks concerned, but he lets you go all the same. Solix's repair lab is right by the indoor-outdoor garage, so you have to go back out there to change into regular clothes before walking past him again. He doesn't say anything, but you can feel him watch you leave. You get food for the pair of you, drinks as well. When you have everything, you return and sit with Solix, who eats while working. That's something you appreciate about Solix. When you don't feel like talking, he doesn't try to make you. It's pretty obvious that he's open to it, but he's not forcing you to talk. When does it get better? You ask him. The breakup? He asks. Yeah, you're the only one I know who lost a relationship that was that long. You point out. Not true. There's Aradia, obviously. I'm kind of surprised you've not been talking to her more about it, Solix says lightly as he turns the snowmobile off and then on again. Yeah, well, she wasn't happy when I tried to help with her breakup, and both of us have yelled at each other that our respective breakups are none of the other's business, so I've kind of shot myself in the foot there. You sigh. Also, if she gives you anything like, this too will pass kind of shit, you might just scream. I don't know. More than a week, though. It got worse before it got better, so I think you're on track for that, Solix says as the snowmobile hums into life. That checks out, you say glumly. Solix returns to his desk and shoots off a message to whoever brought the snowmobile in and then sits down beside you in his desk chair. Have you talked to her at all? Solix asks. Jade? You ask, and Solix gives you a look like, who else? But he could have meant Aradia. Have you talked to Jade? Well, no. She's hundreds of miles away on another base. You've opened a million messages to her, but never sent any. I don't want to make it worse for her. you mumble. That's very noble of you and all. I didn't message Aradia because it hurt too much, but that's just me. If you've got other ideas or things you want to ask her, then maybe you should. I don't know how it is from your side. Solix says. If you can come up with any version of "but why don't you love me anymore" that doesn't come off like I'm either guilt-tripping her or I'm just plain pathetic, then let me know, you say bitterly. I'm not sure I could have given Aradia any better answer than "clearly we've grown apart," so I can see that. Solix nods. People keep saying that. We grew apart. Fuck that. I didn't grow anything. She outgrew me. I know things weren't completely perfect. Nothing is, but I was happy and she was happy, or I thought so anyway. I just wanted things to stay exactly how they were. I know nothing is fair or just or anything, but I just wanted to have that one thing, that one relationship with someone who loved me and not have it blow up in my face. After everything, I wanted one thing, you say, almost shouting with the weight of the desperation and unfairness of it all driving your volume higher. Solix doesn't seem to have anything to say to that. No smart, off-the-cuff line about how everything changes, because you know that. No comment about how Jade didn't exist for your stability, because obviously you know that too. He doesn't point out that the universe is fundamentally unfair, because no one knows that better than you do. You know what I think? Solix asks after a moment. You're not sure if you want a fight or if you just want to cry, so you say nothing and wait for whatever he's going to say. You said that Jade said she didn't want to give you an ultimatum or to say you have to do this so we can be together. That it wasn't something you'd do to someone you love, and I get that. And I know you've said you'd have done anything, but... Solix pauses, like he's trying to word this right. I don't think you'd go back to her if she offered. I don't think you'd go back to a relationship with her if you knew it wasn't what she really wanted. I know you wanted something stable, which I definitely see, but I don't know. It's how it was with me in AA. Once I'd seen that things were over, I couldn't switch back to seeing how I had before. It's not like those magic eye pictures where you can flick between ways of seeing it. If you know this isn't what she wants, then I don't think it's what you want anymore, right? Solix asks. You hadn't anticipated him saying that. You want to yell that he's wrong, that there isn't anything wrong with your relationship with Jade, and not all breakups are like his, but you'd never make Jade unhappy knowingly. You wouldn't take your piece at having someone who loves you who isn't bound to by them being family at her expense. You know you'd have been good to her. You know she was happy for lots of your relationship. She's your best friend, so it's not like she'd be miserable or anything. You're not an asshole, but Jade deserves everything, and that's not with you. You want her to be happy, to have everything she wants because she's the best. You're sure she feels the same about you too. It just sucks that you can't be that for each other. Jade outgrew you. Not callously, not out of hate. Like something in her wardrobe that's too small for her now. You'd want her to remember everything that was good about you together, but if you had kept her with you, then it'd be worse. Every time she wore you would constrict her, pinch her in places, and maybe she'd still keep going because she loves the look of it or the memories, but you do that long enough, and whenever you open your wardrobe and see that piece of clothing, you feel nothing but sadness about it. You don't want to be something Jade is sad about, something that makes her wish things were like they had been, something that's not right for her now and hinders her all the time. You don't want that for her. So, you know your answer. No, you admit quietly. You can't even say that ignorance is bliss here, because the idea of hurting Jade obliviously is just as awful. It just sucks, and you hate it all. You drape yourself miserably over the edge of the table, and Solix comfortingly pets your hair, his claws skimming the nape of your neck. I just realized your hair's getting kind of long, he says thoughtfully. You're really just gonna leap from devastating emotional truths to casual observations about my hair? You demand, still face down on the table. Duality. Solix says, like that explains anything. I was gonna get it cut before the mission, but I ended up missing a lot of stuff because of the incoming nightmare storm of void fuckery. You say, deciding to answer his unspoken question and just accept that Solix can easily jump conversational tracks like it's nothing. If it wasn't obviously just a short haircut grown out, it'd look pretty. Kind of like Roxy's, but shorter. Solix comments and passes his claws through your hair. You don't want to think about everything Solix just got you to confront. You've thought about it enough to do the confronting, but you don't need more salt in the wound. Yeah, your relationship is dead now, no matter what anyone says or does. Even if Jade changed her mind, it's in the goddamn morgue. You'd like to not think about it, so you sit up and try to just bullshit for a bit. Pretend like it's not there. You know it is. Solix obviously does, but you'd like a little pretense at least. You saying my sister's pretty? You challenge Solix. I'd like you to imagine a triangle where each point is a different trait. The first being attractive, the second being a goddamn weirdo, and the third being intimidating. You're all on there, none of you is so far over that you're only one or two things. Solix explains. You try to mentally plot that out yourself and work out where everyone would be. Rose has got to be way over between intimidating and weird, surely, you say with a frown. Yeah, but she's pretty too. But if the midline between hot and intimidating is me not being sure if it's even safe to think that about her because she'll somehow know and curse me, then I'd put her closer to intimidating than hot, Solix explains. Well, what about Hal, Dirk, and Roxy? They were identical, so how does that work? You ask curiously. Roxy is somewhat intimidating, but not that much. She and June fit that low level of intimidation where I'm aware of pranks, but not exactly intimidated, compared to Dirk and Rose, who have the kind of terrifying, unblinking stare that could peel paint off of a wall. Solix explains. Not Hal, though? You ask curiously. I watched him once nearly drink liquid coolant instead of his Sprite. I'm aware that he's probably going to try to screw with my stuff and pull technical mischief, but I know him too well to be all that intimidating. I put him as less weird and hot than Roxy, but more than Dirk. Solix says. Jane? You ask. She is pretty, and she's goofy enough to be weird from what I've seen over dinner. She seems like the only normal one in your family, which is deeply suspicious, and I get the vibe that people don't cross her twice. So, more or less in the middle, subject to me knowing her better. June is kind of even-ish to her, but way more into the weird corner. She'd be intimidating if I hadn't seen her dump blue Kool-Aid powder into milk as a kid and then laugh so it all came out of her nose. He answers. What about me, then? You ask. Spooky ghost shit is, in theory, intimidating. You personally are not. You get minor credit for that, but you personally aren't intimidating to me at all. You're too nice to be scary. You are really goddamn weird, though. Like, I cannot stress enough how not normal all of your interests are. You're simultaneously a really good artist, and you produce absolute nonsense for fun. You pull out a violin and say, oh yeah, you can play this, and bust out retro video game music. You're weird, Dave. Really weird. Solix tells you. It's like those logic puzzles as a kid. You've got 3 variables and have incomplete information for everyone. You're going to guess that June is pretty solidly in the not scary, not hot, very weird section of the triangle on account of the milk out of the nose thing, and based on how weird he classed you as, then you're probably right up there with her, huh? Chat. I won't say it again, but chat. I feel like if you really wanted to start an argument with my family, that'd go on for hours. You could just bring this up to them and watch them argue about where they all should be. Hours of chaos there. You say thoughtfully. I think that's the kind of theoretical question I'd want to drop and leave so I didn't get caught in the chaos. Solix says. If you're gonna cause that kind of chaos, at least stay and watch it. You counter. Solix doesn't seem entirely swayed by your point and instead bites into the bread provided with his meal. You have that in quotes because, in your opinion, bread shouldn't be that dense. You shouldn't eat it and be unsure if you picked up a cork-backed coaster by mistake. Hey, do me a favor? Solix asks, looking at his screen instead of you. What? You ask. Don't do this, okay? Working so hard just because you don't want to think. I know there's a lot to be done around here, but don't hurt yourself. Tired people make mistakes, and you don't need any more cybernetic body parts. Plus, if I return you to your family all damaged, they will kill me. That, and I like you, or something. Gross. Solix fakes a grimace at the idea. Ew, gross. You laugh weakly. I know, right? Also, Aradia was looking for you earlier. She wanted to talk. I'm guessing she probably wanted to set up another balance thing. He tells you. You don't especially want to go find Aradia because as far as she's concerned, all of the awful things happening right now will eventually not be happening, so that's alright then. Or something like that. Obviously she's right because the progression of time is a thing, but present Dave and Solix are in pretty shitty situations, and conjecture about your future state isn't helpful at all right now. You've always wondered how that comforts people like her. Future people, you mean. As far as you're concerned, you'll deal with the future when you get there, and you'll do what you can to plan for it by dealing with the present moment, but the only thing you know for sure about is the past and the present. Those words, I'm still a little bit seeing in Splatfest team colors, not gonna lie. It works in reverse! Solix's point that now that you know what you do, you couldn't unbreak your relationship was actually helpful. It gives you information for now. It's information you hate, but it's information. His point is that you're already screwed, so you just have to look after yourself now and keep dealing with things as they happen, and that's all you can do. Eventually, it won't be so hard. You can comprehend that, even if you don't like it. But to ignore the present and past in favor of being like, what? Oh, in the future this won't hurt so much, and maybe you'll be with someone new. Maybe you can focus on yourself and turn all that time you would have spent with Jade into learning a cool new skill. Just imagine yourself being good at a new thing. Yeah, okay. Maybe those things might happen, but you may as well ignore your present heartache by saying, oh boy, maybe when I turn 40 I can fill a jacuzzi with jello powder just to see what happens, and then win an arm wrestling match against the best arm wrestler on another ship and be crowned the king of sports. Theoretically, that could happen, but sitting around thinking about that is the actions of a goddamn crazy person. Blah. What'd Rose say about all of this, assuming you could tell her the details? Probably something similar to the advice she's given you before, that different people think differently, and just because someone's way of thinking doesn't mesh with yours perfectly doesn't mean they're wrong. Goodness knows you had clashes like that reasonably often when you were younger, like when you were new to Cardcat and his habit of living his life with everything turned up to 11, especially emotions and volume, and you found it hard understanding people. You eyeball Solix with vague suspicion. You're a future person, you start. Allegedly, Solix counters. You're ignoring that. Do you understand Aradia's whole it'll be better later, the present and the past is meaningless thing? You ask. I do, sort of, Solix says with a frown. You gesture for him to go on and catch up eating your food. This time it's curry, and it's the first time you've noticed in the entire time you've been eating it, which probably isn't a good sign for you in terms of how you're doing. In my experience, Aradia is, I guess, cheerfully morbid would be a way of phrasing it. She doesn't tend to worry a lot unless it's something happening right now, and even then, whenever people pissed her off badly, she'd let it go really quickly because holding on to it was a waste of her energy. She always told me that everything ends. Any of my mood swings, injuries, illnesses, a run of bad luck, it always ends. Even relationships all end in either failure or death. Solix explains. Wow, that's real goddamn bleak. You choke. Not really. She told me that trying to hold on to things brought more pain, and I kinda get that. Our breakup hurt because we were holding on to something that was gone, and it not being there was painful, but if we stopped holding on to nothing so hard, it wouldn't have hurt, in theory, I guess. She said that it was easier to focus on how to make the future better when you accepted that everything was fleeting. if you didn't spend all your time trying to cling to stuff, then you had more time to deal with what was coming and make it better. I don't know. I get it when it comes to grief. Sitting there crying about Matuna being gone forever wouldn't help anything, and it just hurt me. Being able to let losing him go meant I could remember all the good things and live my life. It also meant that I could come on this trip and find out what's actually happened to him, which is kind of a mixed thing. I get her idea in theory, but I can't always follow it. Sometimes it was comforting, and sometimes it was irritating. Solix shrugs. I'm sure some of that is healthy acceptance, but it just sounds like pretending your problems aren't there and hoping they go away. You grumble. Oh, I'm sure you can do that. I'm sure she has. I'm also pretty sure having a terrible day and loudly being like, "It's okay, one day I'll be dead," is more concerning than zen. Solix snorts. Exactly, you nod. You push your food around your tray a little more and give up. You're about done anyway, and you should really go find Aradia. She's still your friend, and you still need to work with her to balance. You sigh deeply, possibly dramatically, and get to your feet. Let me know when you're gonna do your thing so I know it's coming, or maybe so I can go get Marcy and get her to watch. It was fine last time, right? It should be fine now, Solix says, though he doesn't sound certain. I'll make sure Marcy's there. I'm not gambling with your well-being any more than I have to, you tell him. The sound of approaching footsteps makes you shut the hell up, and sure enough, one of your unawoken sailor colleagues comes into the room with their palm husk in hand and a frown on their face. Solix, I've been locked out of the program I need, they complain. You leave him to that, then. You're debating how you're going to bring things up with Aradia when you find her. You don't like having a problem with your friends. You'd only just been getting back to normal with her after she and Solix broke up. At first, she'd been off with you because you were pointing out how she wasn't handling it well and wouldn't admit it. Then after that, she was trying to slip Solix information. Granted, it wasn't anything terrible, but it made him question things, and if you were her, you'd be wondering if Solix's awareness now wasn't at least partly because she had him searching for answers. If you have too open a mind about something, stuff gets in. But what was done, and things had been better after that. But now this... it's exhausting. You search the base for Aradia with no result, which isn't alarming because it most likely means she's outside doing something. You retrace your steps, dodging conversation from other sailors about if you're doing okay with the whole Jade thing. Everyone knows by now, and you really don't like all the sympathy, feeling like something to be looked down on with a toxic mix of empathy and glad that's not me really gets your back up and always has. You go through Solix's lab, and he throws your packaged cookie at your head. You didn't eat it with your meal. You take it with you, get changed, and eat it as you go outside looking for Aradia. You pass Jake and ask him if he's seen Aradia, and he gives you the direction that he saw her last. Sure enough, you find her at the space elevator, examining the containers of mined ore. The space elevator is in full swing now. Every 10 minutes, another stack of containers starts the journey up into the sky and up to the space station. They do some complicated math up there about when and at what angle to fire things off so they reach the ship, but that's beyond you. It does look majestic, seeing all that shipped up into the sky. The containers themselves are made from ore processed from this very planet, and when they get to the Atuan, they too will be made into parts of the new spaceship. Standing on the ridge of a snowy hill, looking up at the space elevator, you appreciate for a moment that what you're seeing is the salvation of countless innocent people. It's all for a reason. You shake the feeling off and head over to Aradia. You come to a stop by her as she examines a hunk of frozen ore in her hand. Hey, she greets you as you walk over to her. Hey, you say back, and lean on the container. Aradia tosses the ore back and looks you up and down, her red eyes taking in every detail about you. I really am sorry for my part in this, you know. I talked to her about everything, and I wasn't trying to break you up. This wasn't a misery loves company kind of deal. Aradia says quietly, the press of shipping containers around you giving you a moment of closeness and privacy. I never thought you had any bad motives in this. I'm not thrilled that talking to you set this whole thing off for her, but You sigh and struggle to vocalize the idea Solix got through to you before. It hurts so fucking bad, but I wouldn't want her to be unhappy, even if it meant that I got to keep her. She's not a thing to keep. I want Jade to be happy. I just wish I'd made her happy in a way that she wanted. You say quietly. Aradia looks down at the snowy ground around you for a moment, and then back up at you, blowing hot air through her gritted teeth and making it steam up through the atmosphere past the agonized expression on her face. I need to tell you something, she says finally. Something Jade said? You ask, and brace yourself for whatever that might be. No. Something about me, about this whole situation. Just promise you'll hear me out the whole way through? She asks. Sure, you agree warily. I really appreciated Jade coming to talk to me. We've been friends for ages, but it brought us closer, and I knew you had a hand in it somewhere. Karkat too, no doubt, because he always tries to help people feel better. I wasn't mad about it or anything. Besides, she's a good listener, and she doesn't push things. I could talk when I wanted to, but she was just there for me as my friend, even if I just wanted company. Aradia says. She's good like that. You agree with a nod. She is. Dave, I never meant to, and I didn't tell her, but I have feelings for Jade. I'm flush for her. I never told her. She doesn't know, and I never have encouraged her to break up with you just in the hope that I could take your place. I wouldn't do that to you, to either of you. I'm not even asking permission to go and see if she feels the same or anything, but if it ever came out, I'd hate for you to not know, to think the worst of me. I just wanted you to hear it from me. Aradia confesses all at once. Betrayal stings you at once. Being balancers puts you in a horrifyingly bonded group, whether you'd have chosen each other or not, and you have to all trust each other completely. But the fact is that you are friends with Aradia, and you would have chosen to be around her without all of this. For her to want your girlfriend is a stab in the back. But it fades, almost immediately. It takes a split second, in fact. She didn't convince Jade to break up with you. You have no proof of that, but you believe her wholeheartedly. You also know she wouldn't screw you over like that. It was pretty clear that the timing for this breakup was terrible for you and Aradia both, on just a balancing end, let alone a personal end. There's no way Aradia was trying to get you out of the picture, and for her to tell you about this herself is a gesture of respect and care. She's your friend. The sting of thinking of Jade with someone else is still achingly painful, but if it had to be anyone, you'd so much rather that she was with someone that you know through and through is a good person. Aradia would treat Jade like she deserves, because Aradia's that kind of person. You can see why Aradia would like Jade, not just because Jade is fantastic, but also because so many of their interests line up. You'd hoped that Aradia might find solace in Jade after losing Solix, because Jade is so good. You still want the best for both of them. It hurts to think about, but the idea of Aradia and Jade together is good as well. The people you think the best of, who only deserve only the best, finding that in each other. It's bittersweet, but there's still sweetness there. You'd wanted to be the person Jade wanted, but at the same time, if it had to be anyone else, you'd probably have said Aradia. It hurts, still, deeply, in a way that's not betrayal, but rather further confirmation of how things between you and Jade really are over. Even if Jade doesn't return her feelings at all, this is still a theoretical possibility. At some point, Jade will date someone else. That's just how it is. That's the truth that hurts, not the possibility that it's Aradia. All of your thoughts probably crossed your face to some degree, but Aradia still waits silently for you to say something. Thanks for telling me, at least. I know you wouldn't have had any bad motives. I know you better than that. It really hurts to think about, but hey, at least you have taste. You joke, a little weakly. Aradia sags in relief and nods. I really wasn't trying to go behind your back. Realizing how I felt was awful. It felt like such a betrayal. I didn't want you to think... She tries. I know, ma'am. I know. You nod. Aradia steps closer and hugs you tightly, the puffiness of your coats cushioning the gesture, but the meaning makes it through nonetheless. I'm really sorry things between you ended. I know how much it hurts, Aradia says softly. You nod and let her go, the two of you shuffling back into your own spaces. The tension between the pair of you feels so much lighter now. You're on the same team properly again. There's no secrets or blame here now. You're just glad that this was a moment for just you and Aradia, and that Bro and Damara weren't skulking about. You didn't need the audience, that's for sure. We should probably talk about Solix's appointment with Marsti again soon, you say. It's a vague way of phrasing it, but with the limited vision around you and the noise of the machinery that shifts the shipping containers, you don't know if someone might be within earshot. If someone was eavesdropping on your emotional conversation, that's one thing, but you're not waking up some sailor who doesn't know about the light and darkness. You've got enough problems with Solix being newly awake, and you're not dealing with anyone else if you can help it. So, in public like this, where you can't be sure of your audience like you can in Solix's closed lab, for example, you're going to watch your words. Thankfully, Aradia is used to the euphemisms about all of this, and she doesn't need any hints about what you mean. Is he experiencing anything off? Aradia asks. No, it's just been a week, so it makes sense, you tell her. And how do you feel about it? She continues. Pretty sure you know how I feel. You snort. You can tell you're pulling too dark from your thoughts lately, but that's no surprise at all. Aradia opens her mouth to say something, but you hear the crunch of snow underfoot, and a step or two later she hears it too. So, the container, you say casually. Right, like I was saying before, all the ore is really good quality, especially out of the cliffs that we got into recently. Based on the current projections, I think we should be able to haul a really good amount out, Aradia explains. Dave! Aradia! Nepeta calls out from somewhere a few containers away. Yeah, boss? You call back, walking backwards and looking around the edge of the container to see her in one of the narrow walkways between them. Ah, there. I tracked your suits down to here, but this place is a maze. I need to talk to you both. Solix and Marsti are already in my office. Come on. Nothing's happened, before you ask, Nepeta says, and you relax a little at her anticipating your very next question. Right behind you, Aradia says, and the pair of you fall into line behind Nepeta. I'm surprised you didn't ping us over Trollian, you comment as you walk along. I had a few things I needed to check on out here on the way, so it worked out nicely, Nepeta explains with a smile. 2 birds with 1 stone, Aradia agrees brightly. You've always felt bad for the birds in that metaphor. All the same, you follow Nepeta back to the base. It's not that long of a walk at all. The 3 of you change quickly and head up to her office, where you find Solix in her seat, frowning and clicking away with the mouse. Oh, was Solix doing desktop support another bird you got with this stone? You ask. Well, since he was waiting. Nepeta laughs and shuts the door behind you. I fixed it, by the way, Solix says, leaning back in the seat. I had every faith in you. Nepeta smiles. You get to see the moment that Solix remembers that Nepeta is his boss right now and that he should get out of her seat, and then hastily does so and makes his way around your side of the desk. Nepeta sits in the vacated seat and looks at you all. So, I wanted to ask first how you're doing, Solix. No more unusual symptoms, speech problems or anything? Visions of Mituna? Nepeta asks. Nothing. It's really only when they balance, Solix tells her. Good. Well, I think maybe you two should do that now. I'm going to need Dave to be away for a while, so better you two get things evened out before, Nepeta says. Where are we going? Solix asks. No we in this, unfortunately. Production levels in the mine are at an all-time high with you and Kupram at your stations, and every bit of material we get back to the Atuan is more Carapacian lives saved. Unless there's a dire need for you to leave the base, I don't want you doing that. I especially don't want you going as far away as I need Dave to go, Nepeta says regretfully. Back to the shuttle? You guess. Exactly. With the communications fully repaired thanks to Solix and Kupram, you should be able to do what you need to with Solix's guidance without us having to lose him from the base at all. There's no way we can make fuel safely and at the quantities we need without sacrificing the mining operations output.
The team back on the Atuan have made the decision that we're going into one shuttle. We need all the seats and survival tech out of Shuttle 2. I need you to strip everything with Salix and Kuprim's guidance, load it into an empty truck, drive that back to Omega Base, and then drive a different empty truck back to the ship, and repeat until you have everything out. Then when you get back here, we'll strip out everything we've been told to from Shuttle 1 and fit things in. Nepeta explains.
There's so many risks to that. The shuttles are made to be adjustable to an extent, especially so a piece like a seat can be changed out for a new one. But having a shuttle carry double its capacity is a big ask. It changes the weight of the shuttle, the balance of it all, and puts a whole different strain on the life support. Not to mention, it's putting all of your eggs in one basket, or, in this case, all of your highly skilled sailors into one explosively powered shuttle. Still, you trust the people tasked with crunching all the numbers to get you home, and it's not like you have a better option. For all your jokes before about making bootleg hydrazine, you really don't know enough about rocket science to do any of that without careful instruction from on high. Whether it's going to work or not is a problem for future you. Right now, you just need to do what you're told. Good, Laika. Bark, bark, roll over, fetch. Sure thing, Box. I'm guessing you want me talking to Salix so I don't dropkick the water reclaimer or something? You joke, a smile on your face.
That hadn't been a concern, but now...
Nepeta snickers. Wait, so we're all traveling back on Shuttle 1? Salix asks in confusion.
We'll go up and dock with the space shuttle and then pull it to the Atuan. If we strip enough out of Shuttle 1 and set that up in shipping containers, we should save enough weight and space to be able to do it. I'm sure there's calculations that'll have to be adjusted, but it's doable. Aradia answers him.
As a suggestion, if we're ahead of schedule closer to the end, can I suggest that we separate the sections of Shuttle 2 and take the nose end with all the tech in it and haul that up here onto the space elevator? There's tech in there that we'd do well to keep. I know we don't have cranes strong enough to move it about, but I'm pretty sure Salix could do that, or even with a few of the other psionics helping if he needs it. We don't want to be eating into the carapacian stuff more than we have to for us to rebuild Shuttle 2, right?
You suggest. I like that idea. I need to run it by the Atuan first to see if there's a hit list of stuff they'd want from the other sections, but if it's depressurized, we should be able to put at least parts of it on the space elevator. You'd need several trucks hauling together, but it could be done with the shutdown of Omega Base. Still, the first priority is getting everything we need for the crew out of Shuttle 2 and into Shuttle 1.
Nepeta says, with a businesslike nod. Doesn't this also mean I'm confined to the base without Dave? Salix asks, warily.
Yes, I'll draft you up a list of people who can supervise you outside of the base with Dave away, but you're mostly going to be staying here. At least it'll be warm.
Nepeta says that last part brightly. So, can I suggest that if we're balancing, you sit down first? Marsti suggests, looking at Salix and pulling a seat out. Mentally, you reach out for Bro, and sure enough, he appears and casually surveys the room. Damara drifts in through a wall, and she and Bro eye each other with disdain, but both stay silent. You and Aradia turn to face one another, and Aradia suggests an Earth song, or song is maybe not right. You're sure there's probably words in there somewhere, but it's some ancient sound. Even before Earth was destroyed, it was some ancient Nordic call, a collection of notes and syllables that probably mean something to people from there, but you know what it's for. It was used to bring in animals, to call to others, a pure human sound bouncing far through valleys and forests where darkness and void might lurk, designed to pierce right through it. Ironically, for not being human, Aradia is far better at it. She can reach notes you never can, even though your range is pretty good. But you can harmonize with her, lending a deeper, eerie quality to the call. And for all the room you're in is small, you can feel your voices echoing through a space far larger. What you really don't like is how much attention Bro is paying Salix and how close he's getting to him. Not that Salix can tell, as he has his eyes shut, and by the time he opens them, you've stopped singing. Marsti checks Salix over to be sure that he's fine, but since it seemed like he just got Matuna this time, he's physically fine. Probably a little unsettled from having contact with his dying brother or ancestor, but fine. I think he's in some kind of coma now. I'm not getting any thoughts or images at all, just a Matuna-ness to things. Solix explains helplessly.
I'm sorry, Solix,
Nepeta says sympathetically. Like you said before, it puts Solix in the position of not wanting Matuna to die and also wanting him to die. Which way is more merciful, and for whom? I'll go pack my things then. If I put my foot down, I can maybe make it most of the way there before it gets stupidly late. You say, and check your palm husk to get a better read on the time. You've just had lunch, and you won't need to change out for people. You can probably shave a little distance off of your route if you're not going to Omega directly. Who's going with you? Solix asks with a little frown on his face.
No one. We can't really spare people right now. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on where he is, and he'll make regular contact, but the drive is fairly simple. Besides which, he can always rest at Omega Base if he needs to stop midway, which he should given that long of a drive alone.
Nepeta says with a firm look at you. You might be feeling better about your breakup, but you'd rather not sleep at all than see her right now. You can compromise and sleep in the middle of nowhere in the truck. That's doable. Is that safe? You said being alone on an empty planet like this was dangerous, Solix says, and gives you a wide-eyed look of concern. That wasn't exactly what I said. I'm fine, though. We're all balanced now, and I can deal with more dark than this planet can throw at me. Besides, I have a destination that I already know. I'm not heading out into nothingness, so it's different. You explain.
You'll understand it more later when you can feel it out for yourself,
Aradia tells him, and you wince at that idea. You don't want that at all. I'll go pack, you tell the others.
Dismissed. Drive safe, Dave. Give me regular updates,
Nepeta says. I'll tell you all the important things, boss. You nod and leave. Nepeta tries to keep the cat puns to a minimum now that she's got such a serious job, but every now and then one slips by and you can get away with shooting one back to her. You leave the room and head to your shared room with Solix. He's been a good person to share with. You don't bicker over anything, and you think your experience sharing a hive with him before this has helped. There's always the concern that with an individual room, it's different. Trolls can be a little more territorial than most humans, though of course no generalization is ever correct for everyone. Still, you know, some people new to the sailor life really find it hard to adjust to sharing so much space and having so little privacy. Solix seems to be fine with it all. You're gonna miss sharing a room with him for this little mission. He's made his position of support very clear over your whole breakup, and it's been nice not being alone. It occurs to you, as you pack your things up, that you should probably tell him what Aradia said about Jade, just so it doesn't blindside him if she does make any kind of move there. That said, there's likely no rush on that. You doubt Jade would be ready to date anyone else for a while, and Aradia would probably feel weird about trying for that when the wound is still so fresh for you. You'll bring it up later. You pack up all the food and supplies you'll need, the regular toolkits and the more intense ones that you'll need for disassembling the shuttle by yourself. With that all done, you toss your stuff in a truck and head back inside to take one last bathroom break in the warm and to fill your thermos up with hot coffee. If you happen to go looking for Solix, it's only because his repair shop has a convenient exit out of the base. Really. Solix looks up as you walk in and gets up, abandoning his work. Is this really going to be okay? He asks you worriedly. Yeah, ma'am. I can take care of myself. Don't worry, you assure him, tightening the seal on your thermos. I know, you're the big, tough, experienced sailor and everything, Solix says, rolling his eyes. You say nothing, but pointedly look down and then up at him. He's bigger than you are. At least, he's taller, even if you have more in the way of muscle. Right. Nepeta said about me guiding you through the whole process, and I'm gonna read up on everything about it and talk to Kupram, but she didn't say how you'd be filming anything. I'm not sure your palm husk is gonna be great for the job, especially if you're doing something that requires 2 hands, Solix says. That scared the shit out of me. One drive? Thought you were gonna tell me I'd lost connection again. Yes, if only I had some other means of letting you see what I see, you say to Solix, and blink several times. Ah, right. At least I'll literally know what you're looking at. I guess you'll just call me for the audio? Okay, I could do that.
Solix says, clearly a little embarrassed at forgetting just how your eyes work.
Hey, when you're doing that, I can look at a mirror for you. I'm told that's trippy for people to watch.
You offer. I'm sure you have better things to do with your time. Drive safe, okay? Solix says, his voice going all sincere at that last part.
I promise, you say quietly.
You wave at him as you leave, and in no time you're on the road again. Well, road is a pretty charitable description, but still. You have a few audiobooks that you listen to as you go, and Bro pops in and out a few times, but he's typically pretty disinterested in you driving, and unlike you, he has the option of being elsewhere. You can't help but notice that he does pop in a lot more than he usually would, and you're not sure what to make of that. But you didn't get where you are today by giving Bro's motivations any consideration. You stop for dinner and decide to troll a few people as you eat.
Just checking in to say that I'm on schedule for my planned ETA. Nothing interesting to report.
Not a lot of need to follow that one up. Nepeta can get to it when she gets to it. You're really just checking in because you're supposed to, not because there's anything worthy of a report.
Just so you know, I'm walking around the truck after food so my legs don't get all stiff, and I'm telling you that it's all cool here.
Is that because it's literally below zero outside?
And because I'm here, because I'm so cool.
Sure. It sucks that you have to go alone. It seems dangerous.
It's fine. Besides, I get to break a whole shuttle.
Carefully dismantle, not break.
Semantics.
I'm not being held liable for this.
Boo!
Drive safe, Dave. Commit less property damage when you get there.
But not no property damage, eh?
For legal reasons, that was a joke. Bye, Dave. You grin and climb back into the truck, only you're not alone. Bro's there in the passenger seat with his feet on the dash and his arms crossed around his middle.
Well, whatever. He can do what he likes.
You shut the door and start the engine up and pull away. Bro stays weirdly present the whole time. You're used to ignoring him, not always even in a deliberately not paying attention kind of way, but just in the sense that he's stuck to your soul like gum to the bottom of your shoe, and he has to exist somewhere. You're just used to him being vaguely around. All the same, you're surprised when he speaks.
You know who he sees follows which one of you is leading,
Bro says out of nowhere. He also says it without any context or names, so it takes you a moment to work out that he is Solix. He means that whether Solix experiences Matuna or Psionic, because you're all pretty sure it's him now, varies depending on whether you or Aradia is pulling harder. You've been trying to let her lead so you can follow her rather than be out of whack and have her scrambling to catch up.
And,
you say in response.
He could hear Damara after seeing Matuna, when Aradia was leading, but after it dropped off.
Bro adds. He's not a balancer, you say in response, refusing to add the yet to that.
Right, but he got light from her,
Bro says. You frown at the darkening ice ahead of you as the sun sets. You're not sure what Bro is getting at exactly.
Yeah?
Aradia leading changed things for him. What are you trying to say? You ask.
I was thinking about the other ghost, his ancestor. From the timeline, he's been alone a long time. He started losing his speech, which tracks since untethered ghosts degrade.
Bro starts. That and the torture, you add.
It affects Solix's speech after because he actively followed through Matuna to get to him. It was like he was possessed, almost haunted,
Bro says.
And me and Aradia can't talk to him because the connection is only open when we're balancing, and you can't talk to him because he seems to be only semi-verbal. Okay, so that's a problem for you wanting to talk to him. Leaving aside how you wanting to talk to anyone is weird, I don't see how this is a problem. When Matuna dies, the connection with Sai will as well. Ghosts can't haunt ghosts. Either Matuna will haunt Solix or not, but Sai's a non-entity in all of this. You tell him. That sounds callous to the psionic, who, as far as you know, was a good guy who really didn't deserve what happened to him. But the fact is that he's dead, and soon he'll be unconnected enough from Matuna that he can move on. Hopefully, he can go to wherever spirits go, or just stop existing at all and be at peace. All of that is firmly not your problem, even if you could do anything about any of it, which you can't, so why does Bro care? Matuna's light-based and his ghost isn't, Bro says sharply. You open your mouth as an idea hits you, and do pause, mouth still slightly open. You want to know how someone grafted a dark soul onto a light one. You either think they're following Mom's science, or it is Mom. You want to try to talk to Psionic to find that out. This is about Mom, you say coldly. No one else understands this like the two of us do. I'm not out here doing any more research, but she is, Bro insists. I'm not talking about Mom with you, you say firmly, and ignore him hard enough that Bro can't communicate anything at all with you. After half an hour of firmly ignoring him, he gives up and leaves, probably to go terrify some wildlife or something. The thing is, he's probably right. That kind of fuckery is likely either one of Mom's former coworkers, or it's actually your mom going around torturing other kids for a change of pace. You're sympathetic for Matuna there. You literally know what it's like being your mom's science project, and you feel bad for him if he's dealing with that. There's nothing you can do about it, and even if you could manage to communicate with Psionic enough to get any kind of confirmation about that, you wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't be able to do anything. You can't even go looking for Matuna now. The ship needs to stay ahead of the void, and it's a big goddamn universe. Even if you had some way of tracking them down, you can't change the ship's course to look for one innocent guy who's almost certainly going to die soon anyway. It's a callous kind of math, but it's exactly what the captain has to deal with. Say it is your mom. So what? She is all the way over wherever the fuck she is. If she was near you, that'd be another thing entirely, but she's not. Besides, you know what Bro's really looking for, even if he won't say so. He wants confirmation that it was all an accident, that Mom never meant to put him in mortal danger so his soul stuck to yours, that she didn't lie to him about the rescue that was supposed to save him from his execution. It's just pathetic that he still believes any of that. You were a gullible child. You believed your biology that programmed you to assume your parents loved you and would protect you, and even you know that your mom hurt you and exploited you for her own ends. Bro can see that she did that to you and still somehow assume that he was different, that she'd never betray him. On the one hand, it's the only thing he has left, but on the other hand, that's no one's fault but his own. Bro was a victim of Mom's manipulation, just as you were. She had him kill... Nope, that's not the correct order of the lines. She had him hanging on her every word, and it shattered his soul and got him killed. He probably deserves sympathy for that, for someone to understand that he was a victim too, and to see that in him. He might well deserve understanding and maybe even forgiveness. Yeah, he might, but he doesn't deserve it from you. He was her victim, just like you, but he was a monster that ruined your life, just like she did. You don't care about his deluded hope, or his belief that he was doing the right thing for the greater good, or whatever he tells himself. You just don't care. You sit in silence for a while, adjusting the wheel every now and then around unsafe patches of ground in the dying light of the day. Darkness begins to close around you, but it's not a thing you're afraid of. In its own way, you like it. You know there are things in the dark as a concept, certainly, but in a way, it's a unifying thing. Everyone has been alone in the dark at some point, and in a way, it's a connection to every person that ever was. You don't like the idea of your family's legacy, the one Bro is so intent that you continue, but you've wondered, often enough, what they would have thought of you. What your Uncle Dave would have made of you, what your grandfather would have said, or whoever else before him bore your name and maybe your powers. You're not under the same stars as either of them. You can't look up into the night sky and pick out the same constellations. You have the same darkness, though, the same blackness between stars, and the same shadows that lurk at the edges of everything.
It's comforting, in a way. So you sing. Not to balance as such, because you don't have a light counterpart here. You're not hiding people from the darkness, but instead you're just on your own, reaching out to it. You send your words out like sailors do when there's a funeral. You touch the darkness and the void beyond. In the silence of the truck's cab, your voice is slow and warm.
For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching.
There's been so many explorers over time, and although a lot of that has less favorable history, you can at least understand that little drive that exists in some people to find somewhere new and see it for themselves. You feel it too. You wonder if the other Dave Striders have as well.
Westward from the Davis Strait, 'tis there 'twas said to lie.
The song you're singing is old, in English, which you don't actually speak, and long before Earth was destroyed. You know what all the words mean, though, in the sense that you've translated it and read up on the history. The words of a dead man in a language you don't know, talking about explorers who died in one of the emptiest places your native planet really had, and yet the memory of them and the idea still exists now in the cab of a truck driving alone on an alien world. You like that. You sing through the chorus once more, and you know better than to listen too hard, but you could swear there are more voices than just yours joining you as you sing, but you don't mind. The dead could use your voice to keep them company now and then.
Through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. 3 centuries thereafter, I take passage overland, in the footsteps of brave Kelso, where his sea of flowers began. Watching cities rise before me, then behind me sink again. This tardiest explorer, driving hard across the plain.
You go through the chorus once more, the rumbling of the ground below your tires providing a quiet kind of pseudo-bass to it all.
Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a Northwest Passage to the sea. And through the night behind the wheel, the mileage clicking west, I think upon Mackenzie, David Thompson, and the rest, who cracked the mountain ramparts and did show a path for me to race the roaring Fraser to the sea.
Solix's questions about all of this return to your mind as you idly sing the chorus once more. All his questions about why you have to be a sailor given that you never asked to be a balancer. Or not his questions so much, you suppose, more the fact that he thinks that this is exploitative to you. Which, yeah, it is. It's hard for you to imagine much else, though, and at least in moments like this when you can do things with your connection to the void that you like, moments when you get to explore an alien world. It's not all so bad.
How then am I so different from the first men through this way? Like them, I left a settled life, I threw it all away, to seek a Northwest Passage at the call of many men, to find there but the road back home again. For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort Sea, tracing one warm line through a land so wide and savage, and make a northwest passage to the sea.
As the last words leave your mouth, the connection to the beyond fades, like the slide of fingertips slipping away from your own. You take your foot off of the accelerator and feel the truck slowly glide to a halt. You breathe in deeply and then let the air leave your lungs. Yeah, you're tired, so you may as well call it a night here. You made good time.
Hey boss, just dropping a geotagged message so you know where I'm camped for the night.
Got it. Sleep tight.
Will do. I'll send you another message when I'm on the way again, but I should be there before noon tomorrow at this heading, I think.
Good work.
Job done.
You grab your bag and shove it over the bench seat back and then roll over the top of the seat back yourself. You wrangle your sleeping bag out and flail around with it enough to fluff it up before draping it over the front seat back, and then you pick your wash kit out and sit there brushing your teeth in the dim light of the cab. Not that you really need the light on, but it just feels right, you guess. You brush right-handed out of habit, and for lack of anything to do, your dominant hand picks up your palm husk and flicks at the screen. Your habitual social media that you'd scroll through when doing something dull like brushing your teeth is obviously disconnected, and so your thumb is drawn to the Trollean icon. Oh, Solix is still up. What are you still doing up? Working, duh. Oh, shit, I didn't see it was that late. I'm glad I asked then. Yeah, oops. I would say don't tell KK, but then again, it's not like it'd be news to him, and also I think he'll have forgotten by the time we get back. Dave will remember that. Oh shit, this was a Choices Matter video game after all. Oh no! I know, right? No one told us there'd be consequences to things. Personally, it's always been my downfall. You grin and nearly risk toothpaste running out of your mouth, so you pause to swallow it, which is gross, but you're not making the whole cab cold just so you can spit it outside. Guys, Carcat did that in chapter fucking 1. My eyes are on Solix now. Please stay normal. What the fuck? Okay, Dave had a reason. Carcat did that for no fucking reason. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to sleep. Where are you anyway? Omega Base?
No, and for the sake of setting the record straight, I'm not avoiding that base or anyone in it. I'm just taking the direct route to the shuttle.
I'd call you on that, but I think if I'd been in the same situation when I was in the same emotional place, I'd have done that too. So, yes, I believe you, Dave. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna put out an out of office on my screen and tell people that if they wake me up, something had better be on fire.
Smart. I was just about to go to sleep too.
In the truck?
The back bench seat is pretty roomy when you're not sharing it with 3 people.
I'll take your word for it. With that, you take the opportunity to unlace your boots and then wriggle out of your snowsuit so you can use it as a pillow, or part of it, at least. Since you're about to sleep, you turn off the light in the cab and lay down on the bench seat, the palm husk screen the only bright thing for hundreds of miles.
Okay, I'm now in the sleeping bag.
No psionics taking up all the space this time, huh?
I think you're doing yourself a disservice as a sleeping partner. Like I said, I've shared with people way worse than you. Other people can be annoying, but you were chill. Not, like, cold, though, because I've shared with people colder than Olive before, and that screws with my body temperature.
Yeah, I don't know how Carcat does it.
Oh, you say that, but I legitimately wished I had Gamzee around when we were on a desert planet a while back. Except he would have hated it. That trip was like all humans and warm bloods.
I'm pretty convinced that humans are freaks.
We do extremes well, what can I say? Anyway, you don't get to shame me. Your think sponge is some sci-fi Tesla coil crazy power thing, which I'm super jealous of since I don't get any cool mind powers.
Too bad for you. It's weird being in our room at night with you hundreds of miles away, but still talking to you.
Hey, tomorrow you can see what I see and call me, and I'll be even further away.
Yeah, I can see the shuttle from a lower vantage point. That'll be new.
You are like an inch taller than me. I know Carcat's not here for you to call him short, but you don't have to turn it on me, man.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Boo, hiss. Okay, I'm sleeping now.
Don't get eaten by space wolves.
The truck has closed doors. Do you think they're gonna open them somehow?
Clever girl.
Okay, both out of respect for that very vintage Earth movie poll, and because you made me paranoid, I'm gonna go check that they're locked.
June brought it one time, though. I think it was in English, so I picked the quote up.
Holy shit! Hi. Thank you for the follow. Am I ever gonna not get jump scared by that? I'm the one who picked the sound. Why does it scare me so much? I think it's just because I'm focusing. No, I feel like if that happened while I was like playing a game or something, that would happen too. Anyway, whatever. Thank you. Okay, door is locked actually. Going to sleep now. Or, actually going to sleep now. Night.
Night. You snuggle deeper into your sleeping bag, and it's only when your palm husk bumps your chin that you remember that you didn't put it back in your bag.
Oh well, it doesn't matter.
You yawn sleepily and shift about until you've got your head settled in a comfortable little groove in your folded clothes. You try not to focus on anything much as you fall asleep, instead just drifting off alone in the dark. You're a pretty lucid dreamer, as a rule. You have to be, when Bro could be using your dreams to interact with you. Despite his general disposition, he doesn't tend to harass you in your sleep all that often. You can just wake yourself up when he does, and if he starts trying to get you sleep-deprived, you can retaliate. Mostly when he chooses to come into your dreams, it's because he wants to fight about something. As a side effect of this, you're good at spotting that you're in a dream, even if it's just one of your own creation. Usually, anyway. Early in your sleep cycle, you become aware that you're dreaming. You're in your dad's hive, the one you all lived in when he first adopted you. The age you're at doesn't match the place, though. You feel like you're about 6 or something, and you weren't around him then. You're sat on the sofa, snuggled up against his side. The TV is on in front of you, and as you pay attention to it, the things it shows make no sense. Your siblings are all around you, but at ages that make no sense. Hal and Dirk look around your age, and at that age they didn't even go by Hal and Dirk, much less look like 8-year-old boys. On your left, Roxy and Jane are giggling together, whispering quiet, nonsensical gossip and looking like they're about 14. Rose and June are on your left on the lounge plank watching the TV. You let your focus on the dream go. It's not something of Bro's doing, and if you keep paying attention to the inconsistencies, you'll just wake yourself up. Instead, you drift into the dream itself, into being a little kid tucked up against your dad's side on a sleepy movie night. At some point, Dad ruffles your hair and asks you and Rose to fetch something from the nutrition block. Rose gets up with you, and the two of you walk off. Dad's hive mutates into Mom and Bro's one as you get to the nutrition block that only they had. You're older now, teenagers, except old enough teenagers that, again, you were never in this place at this age. You're vaguely aware of this being a dream as you and Rose open cupboards and appliances looking for something, though you've already forgotten what it was you were after. Got it. Come on, or we'll be late, Rose tells you, and you turn around to face her. She's holding a large packet of chips that glitches through 3 different brands as you try to read the writing on it. You grab the sodas on the side and follow Rose through a door that wasn't there before and out into Carcat and Gamzee's hive. Again, you're teenagers, so Carcat and Gamzee didn't live here then. All the same, your sleeping mind has repurposed the setting to be the backdrop to a house party. Looking around, your friends are all there, along with other people you knew from school on both ships. The hive is packed, and you try to follow Rose through the crowd. You pause when you find Gamzee slumped over a table with a bottle of your mother's favorite gin limply held in his hand. Should you wake him up? You don't know what to do. Dave, come on, Rose calls, and you turn around looking for her. You spot her bright hair under the dimmed lights of the party and weave your way through the crowd to her. When you find her, she's just kneeling down on the edge of a circle next to Kanaya. The group of your friends forms a circle with a soda bottle in the center of it. Just as you step closer, it stops spinning and you freeze as Aradia leans over and kisses Jade right on the mouth. The sight makes you freeze, but Rose hisses your name at you with very much the subtle instruction that you need to be cool about this. Glancing down at her, you see the way she's nervously sat at Kanaya's side, and you put two and two together. She's hoping the bottle will land on her and then Kanaya. She's asking you to play along to try to help her out. You sit a little awkwardly on Aradia's left side, trying not to see the way she and Jade are looking at each other. The dream goes a little blurry, the game shifting briefly into a sort of never have I ever kind of thing that has Karkat cursing, except it seems to be back to spin the bottle after that, and your waking mind is dimly aware that this isn't how this game goes. Still, the action of Karkat picking up the bottle and spinning it grabs your attention off of your thoughts. The soda bottle thunks on the ground and spins around and around, going slower and slower. The bottle drifts to a stop in front of Solix. Solix's eyes go wide and his cheeks go a darker kind of yellow tint. He's fumbling for some kind of excuse or something as he looks from the bottle to Karkat. You watch curiously as Karkat looks up from the bottle to Solix and notes the almost smug air he has about him, like when he knows he's right and just waiting for the other person to get it. Solix is mumbling some kind of excuse like Karkat doesn't have to and it's a stupid game and so on, but it doesn't look like Karkat's trying to get out of this. Karkat seems to wait for the exact moment that Solix falters to a stop before he kneels up and kisses him. You're frozen in place and things go wonky. It's like a magic trick. You're too busy staring at the way Karkat's blunt troll teeth nip Solix's lip just as they finally pull apart to realize that you're somewhere and somewhen else. No longer a dumb teen party, you're now in Tortuga, the bottle on the table something more firmly alcoholic. Karkat, as he is now, sits back in his seat with an air of self-satisfaction, and Solix is flushed, maybe a little surprised, but clearly happy. Karkat's red eyes shift to you as you look dumbly at him. You hear the glassy sound as he flicks at the overturned empty bottle on the table, but you're too busy staring at him to do anything. Your waking mind starts to stir. You're aware that something is off. You're in Tortuga, right? Solix is allowed here now, but Karkat isn't. Your attention shifts to Solix, who is looking down at the table and the slowly spinning bottle. Why are you still playing this? You were in a house party, and now you're in a bar, and it's just the three of you. There's a spark on the bottle, a little flash of blue and red, and the bottle all but screeches to a stop, pointed right at you. You look up, and Solix gives you that smile, the one where he's figured something out or something's gone his way, all sharp teeth and glee. Well then, he says, standing up and leaning over the table. One hand rests next to the bottle and the other reaches out, claws scratching softly on the underside of your jaw. You're frozen, heart in your chest, as Solix leans in and... Wait, this is a dream. You breathe in sharply and open your eyes to the dim darkness of the truck's cab around you. What time even is it? You fumble around in your sleeping bag until you find your palm husk and see that you've slept about 6 hours, despite it not quite feeling like it. With a groan, you sit up and rub at your face to try to wake you up. You were dreaming. Something about a house party? Solix and Karkat and something. Now that you're awake, the details are slipping from your mind, with only a few odd things standing out. Solix cheated at some game, used his psionics or something. Dreams are weird. This is exactly how it goes when I try to write my dream log. There's a lot of something... Ugh, there's no point going back to sleep now. You may as well get an early start on the day. You get up, dress, cook yourself breakfast, eat, and then brush your teeth. You go outside for a bathroom break and a quick check of the truck to be sure that it's all okay and nothing climbed-dotted in the night or anything. It's all fine. By the time you're back in the driver's seat again, the first rays of dawn are peeking over the horizon. You figure you'll sing something to keep your mind occupied, and despite being alone and having no one to annoy, for some reason you choose the classic traveling song of 99 bottles of beer on the wall. You arrive at the shuttle mid-morning, as you'd more or less anticipated you would, if a little early from waking up ahead of schedule. You shoot Nepeta a quick message to let her know that you're here and climb inside, taking a few trips to haul all of your tools in with you.
Hey, you ready for Dave-a-Vision?
Firstly, I just sat down with coffee, so you have excellent timing, and second, that is a terrifying way to phrase that. But yes, I am ready.
Cool. I'll go make this an audio call, and I have an app on my phone here somewhere that lets me stream my vision. Which, now that I think about it, I don't know why Equius always makes me read out eye charts to him at absurd ranges instead of just looking himself.
Maybe he thinks it's less invasive?
That's a good point. Okay, I'm calling you now.
You call Solux, the audio for it going through your suit, so you're all hands-free with this thing. Pizza place, what can I get you?
Solix answers right away. Ah, yes, the pizza place. That said, there's something for branding yourself so definitively. This is the pizza place. You laugh.
It's the kind of confidence I appreciate in my food service. I think you have to share that... Oh, yeah, I see it. I'm connecting now. I think you'll probably have to confirm that I'm not hacking your vision. Solix says, as the pop-up on the app asks you to confirm that you're giving Solix permission to see what you see. You hit accept.
You probably could hack my eyes. You shrug.
I wouldn't. It's loading, and hey, that's pretty clear resolution. Solix says, as a slow light pulses at the corner of your vision to let you know someone's watching. You lower your palm husk and look around.
Is the shuttle's communication streaming everything all right?
You ask as you look about. I'm sure it's probably a little clearer for you, but it's perfect for me. Wow, everything really is in focus all the time. That's nuts. Watching this feels like a really weird first-person shooter. Solix laughs.
Should I crouch to reload? Press X to grab my toolkit?
You joke. Definitely press X to grab toolkit. You've got a whole shuttle to dismantle, and the seats are the first thing you've got to get out. We've got the specs for everything here, and me and Kupram talked about it, so let's go. Solix says. You head over to your toolkit, about to start breaking an absurdly expensive shuttle into its basic parts. At least you've got company for it, though, even if it's just online.
So, what kind of cheat codes have you got?
You laugh as you heft your monkey wrench out of the toolkit. Just wait till I find out where the B, A, and start buttons on my Dave console, and we'll be in business. Solix snickers in your ear, and for a split second, you almost feel like there's something half-remembered in the smile you can picture him making. The thought slips from your mind as soon as it came, and instead you set yourself to dismantling some seats.
That would have done it for me. That little prompt, that would have brought back some details about the dream for me.
Sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Dreams are weird.
Well, that is in fact it.
Because that's the end? Because it's the end is why. Well, then come back tomorrow. Which I know you will. But yeah, I have other things to be doing. Dave's silly. a little bit oblivious sometimes, but I love him. Yes, tragically, I don't have the vocal stamina to do multiple chapters in one day, or else I would have done that like the first week. So sucks for Wander that no more until tomorrow. I need to eat food and take a shower, and I would say that I need to draw, but I don't want my, well, I do need to draw, but it'll be something easier, something more sketchy, less clean and faster. I just don't want my wrist to explode and die. The sewer. That's not it. That's not the word. What did you make? Or what are you making? Because technically, all you said was that you were sewing, not that you were done with whatever you were working on. What are you making? Ooh. Oh. Fun. Are you just... Because I know you made one for Mabel. A little tiny cat cape. Are you just gradually working your way up to regular size? Yeah, just gradually getting bigger. That's funny. Yeah, well... Yeah, well, I mean... She's basically cat-sized, right? It's basically the same thing. But, yeah, okay, so... I'm gonna set the VOD uploading. I'm gonna... find something to eat. Because while I was reading, my brain just decided to hand me the memories of different flavors. And I don't actually remember all of the ones that it gave me, but I am hungry and I should eat because it is dinner time, which is to say lunchtime for my body's schedule. But yeah, I'm gonna go do all of that. I hope you all have a wonderful night. A wonderful Mad Rap Monday. Stream Mad Rap Monday by Chongo Show. It's a good mashup album. Chad. He doesn't know. Chad, he doesn't know. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful time zone. And I'll catch y'all later. Bye!